I think Santa Maria is kind of going through a phase where violence seems to be out there, especially amongst the youth. When I came here in the 1980s, there was a similar situation going on in the northwest side of town. We had a lot of the gang issues around the Pepper Tree Plaza area, and a lot of violence there. And through community involvement, a lot of that got settled. Many new activities were created for youth, and that kind of helped settle things down. And now it seems to be a time for it to resurface.
My neighbors, I always thought maybe they were rude when I moved to this area, but I don't think they're rude. I think they're scared. They're scared. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to do anything. Around here, there's been a lot of, on the weekends, a lot of loud noise, loud music, a lot of drinking, alcohol. Yeah, and they're scared. They don't want to report it. They don't want to call the Santa Maria PD for the loud music they're playing at 1:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Immediately after that, to help pay for the funeral, they had a car wash and sold T-shirts and from what I heard, like the whole community, everywhere, Santa Maria, and during that week, that same week, another kid was killed in Santa Maria. So there was two drive-by shootings that week in this area. So my son and another kid who was like 16 got killed that weekend. So there was a lot of action going on with stuff. It might have been even the same guy, who knows. But there was a lot of support, yeah. Which I was surprised, because I was just like, oh, they're not gonna, nobody's gonna care. Just think it's, gang violence, or assume, because there was a lot of negative, I don't know, like when you go to like the newspaper online and people can put in comments, there's a lot of ignorant comments, like, oh, they're just gang members, like let them kill each other, or, judging the parents, like, oh, what kind of parents do they have, like, it was pretty insulting stuff, Violence, I think it's gone way too far, like, I mean, it's always been bad in Santa Maria, but, like, not like it is right now. It's crazy. Like, I think there's just more influence from the prison, because there's a lot of warfare going on in prison and stuff like that, and they're bringing it out onto the streets. And I just don't think they really have an idea how it affects families. Like, to lose somebody, it really messes you up. Like,
we want to create a community that is safe for all of us. I want to feel safe in my community. I live here, I work here, I've got kids that are being here, grandkids. We all want to be safe in our community, so we want to create a safe community, and we want to live in a vibrant, thriving community. And so where do we start? First of all, we can't blame and accuse. Blaming and accusing is easy. Pointing fingers at each other is easy. But the key role for us is not to blame. Because when we blame, that puts us in a role of victim, and it's not a role from power. Blaming people and accusing people is not a role from power. And it doesn't require action for us. Because if we can point the finger and say, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, then there's no accountability for us. And we have no action in that, because it's only things happening to us. But if we don't blame and we take responsibility, then we take responsibility for what's going to happen, and that creates action from us. And that's what we're here tonight, is we're all here to join together to create some action.
There's no diversity because we're burning in the melting pot.
Santa Maria is evolving. I think that if there were anything good to be said about what's happened recently, is that it's awakened the community and the different stakeholders, and it's made them realize that we can't live in bubbles. We can't live in silos. We have to understand that whatever happens within the community affects us all, whether rich, poor, politically influential, or not. I mean, we're all tied together. So I just really believe it's the evolution of a city, and that evolution is not just measured in population size, but it's also measured in how well we can work together and live together and exist together.
Yeah.
It's it's about being a neighbor. It's about looking out for each other. And one other thing that I've noticed since this all started happening is that there are people that feel left out. There are people that maybe are not taken notice of as far as having a seat at the table. Sad to say that when I look at the newspapers and I look at some of the media coverage, but a lot of the commentary in the newspaper, there's an underlying hint of prejudice, and so those things I think also contribute to the whole dynamic and the culture in this town.
From what I've read online, it seems to, even people who have moved from here have made very negative comments. I don't know that Santa Maria is really that big of a tourist spot because we're not such a big city that it impacts as much as it would on a bigger city. But I think that the current popularity that's going on with the violence right now, the broadcasting on media that's going on, I think it's bringing more attention and unfortunately negative attention to the city.
Turn around and say, hey, as parents, maybe we need to promote more parenting classes to say, hey, as dad, mom, take back your authority. If you don't take back your authority, the streets are.
It's our right to speak up. I mean, that's pretty much what One Community Action Coalition has provided is a venue for people to speak up. And at our meetings, which are open meetings to whoever would like to attend, we have had different individuals, different organizations come and give us their opinion, and they have spoken up. Likewise, with parents and community members, they have been a very important and critical component of One Community Action, and they have shared their sentiments about what's going on. Now, should it be, should they speak up more, or should it be a louder voice? That's up to the community. I mean, as we move down the road of this process of searching for solutions, my sentiment is that depending on how well we're doing to solve our problem will determine how loud the voices get.
I think if people spoke up more, I think we'd get rid of a lot of it. Because I believe that I believe that people, they're just scared. They fear. And I don't believe people should fear in their own home. I live right in the heart of it, and yes, I'm scared. Yes, I worry. There's times where I'm alone at home. And do I think I'm always looking out my window? I'm always looking out the door. I'm making sure everything's locked up. And I don't believe I should have to. As a homeowner, anywhere in Santa Maria, I don't think I should have to be like that.
Some kids think it's cool. I mean, they want to talk about stuff that, as a child myself, I would have thought was scary and not something that I would want to know about, something that I try to stay away from. Whereas now, it seems to be like in their eyes, it's something good, it's something positive, and it's something fun. And I don't think they realize the consequences, and they don't always realize that lives are at stake. And I don't think they realize that shooting a gun isn't just a game. It's real, and it can really hurt people. Where's
the humanity in all of this? There's people dying. And the fundamental question you have to ask yourself, is this the kind of community we want to grow up in, we want to live in? Because the one fear that I really have is that if we don't take care of this problem and handle this issue, I hate to think what would happen if an innocent bystander were to be killed. Then what's going to happen? Then does it make it more important? And that's the fundamental question we have to ask ourselves as a community. Does it require someone other than them? And I would submit to you and anybody else that every life is precious. So it's, to me, it's irrelevant of what you think, whether or not they deserve it. Nobody deserves to be murdered. Nobody deserves to be killed. And so I think that's the greater issue.